Hey guys, welcome to the video. Basically, this is like just a speed paint story time thing because it's a paint anime and it's a pain to basically video edit. Um, yeah, so that's why this is a very long video, but it's also really, I think it's gonna be a really funny video because I have a few stories for you. This is like basically my dating experiences, my dating apps that I used to use, and why like having a female voice on Xbox is such a pain in the butt. Cause oof, 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 oof. Okay, so I guess I'll just start off with like the earliest story, and that would be the Xbox stories. And with these stories, I guess they're kind of funny, but they're also kind of really stupid. So when you're on Xbox, there's like either a bunch of guys and a bunch of girls, but I was around, I think, either 11 or 12, and I was playing Halo 3. No, not Halo 3, Halo Reach. And I was like, okay, I have a mic. I can probably meet some friends on there, or maybe even talk. And so that's what I did. And I was like just talking in chat. I was saying some really stupid things about how, or like also screaming because I was playing Infected. And this random 30-year-old dude, I don't remember his gamer tag and I wouldn't have given it anyways, so let's just call him George. So, George, this 30-year-old man, invites me to a party, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll like talk with this dude. But it was just him and his other two friends. I'm gonna call one Paul and the other one Tom. So, Paul just goes on saying these stupid things, saying of like how I have a cute voice, and I was like, being the awkward young child that I am, I said, thanks, I guess. And, Tom just stayed quiet because I think he went AFK for a bit. And, George, he randomly comes out of nowhere in this party with two other dudes telling a young 11-year-old, like, transgender who has a very feminine voice. By the way, I didn't know I was trans then. But a very young, feminine voice goes like, hey, I want to have your babies. Or it was something like that. And I was like, no thanks. I don't want that. And Tom just comes out of nowhere and says, what, why? And I'm like, one, I'm 11. Two, no. And then I just left the party. They messaged me afterwards saying, oh, it's fine, it's all good. I was like, no, it's not fine. So, that's story number one, I guess. I have a few others, Xbox stories that are pretty much the same thing. You follow in a standard procedure, and that's about it. And the most recent story of Xbox is, I think, last summer. Last summer, I decided to get on my cousin's Xbox and play some Call of Duty 1, because he still has that. And he had a mic then, and since he didn't have gold, I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just talk in game checks, it doesn't really matter. So, that's what I did. And I think this one game, I met like a couple of dudes, and I was playing one in the chamber with them. They were hilarious, though. But two other guys come into the game and started hitting me up. They're like, hey, you sound really attractive, and yada yada yada. And I'm like, thanks, I guess, but why are you flirting with me when you have no idea who I am or what I am, and yada yada yada. And they're just like, oh, that's fine, we get to know each other later, it's gonna be really fun to get to know each other. And I'm like, huh. By the way, these like group of guys that I'm already hanging out with, and they're great people, by the way, great people, and they're just slowly giggling to themselves, because like all night I've been roasting people that have been flirting with me. All night I've been shooting people down, and it was just super funny. So I told this guy that he had a fun-sized Snicker bar as his privates. And I also said that not even a young child could choke on it, because he was talking all big about himself, and he was like, oh, I'm so great, you would love to date me. And I was like, haha, no I wouldn't. And the guys around, like, the guys that I was hanging out with just started giggling, and I'm like, oh my god, y'all are such children. And the dude literally just has, I think this is so funny that, like, really masculine guys, or those that think they're super masculine, have to defend themselves when someone says that they're small. And to me, that just proves on how small they are. So he, like, started talking big about himself, of how he could win a game, and I was like, okay, bet. If you win this game, sure, I will think about going out with you. The thing is, I was going ham in this game. I already killed almost everybody except for, like, a few people. And it was just him and I left alive. Ooh, sorry about that yawn. But it was just him and I left alive. And he's like, oh, I have no bullets. And I was like, because I still have bullets left. And I was like, yeah, I don't have bullets either. And I was just sitting behind this lamppost. He comes and charges at me, and I shoot him. And I was like, okay, there. Now you would never have a chance. Like, you would anyways. I was only saying bet to shut you the fuck up. And he goes like, well, you're a lying skank. And I say this, dude, you wouldn't want to go out with me anyways, because I'm trans, so I'm a dude. And he just shuts up for, like, the quickest second. And I go, his friend goes like, wait, really? And I'm like, yeah, you've been flirting with a trans dude this entire time, trying to get into their pants when they're a guy. And this is when all my friends just started busting out, laughing their asses off. And I was like, you got played there. And then he just comes out of nowhere and starts insulting me, saying that I'm probably just fat. And, like, yeah, I am fat, but whatever, that's not really an insult to me anymore. I was like, yeah, I'm fat, but you know what? You flirted with this fat bitch without even knowing who they are. So, you probably learn to shut up, think with your head instead of your dick, and learn about a person before you flirt with them. And he just left the game, and I was like, oh, this is fucking brilliant. So that's what happened, and I guess my friends really enjoyed it, to the point that one was, like, on the floor crying, and I was like, how is this so funny? This is just my normal day thing, because I'm so used to it. I'm so used to people flirting with me on Xbox. I know, like, people, like, even chicks, even people with feminine voices, and they play on a console, I know that they probably feel like this too. And if you do, share it down below in the comments, because that would actually be pretty funny, because I would probably try to make little comic strips of each of the stories, because these are just hilarious, and if you, like, see an image of it, it's even more funny. So now we're going on to stories of when I was dating. Like, I'm dating someone now, but I was dating, like, in the past, I was dating this one dude, and he hated puns, and I am a pun lover and master. So he worked at this supermarket, and I bet he knows who he is, and he's probably just sitting there cringing like, why are you telling this story? It's so stupid. And I'm like, because it's so stupid that I should tell it. So this guy, I'm gonna call him Carlos, because I don't want to give people's real names out, so I'm gonna call him Carlos. And Carlos, like, gets back from work, and it's, like, really late, and, like, for me, it's, like, super, super, super early in the morning. It's, like, 2 a.m., and for him, it's, like, even later. or even earlier. I don't know. He was on the other side, and it was like an 8-hour difference. So, pardon me yawning again. Oof. So, basically, he just got back from work. He was super tired. He was like eating his dinner, and I say, hey, Carlos, is that a very good food? And I had zero grammar because I was so fucking tired. And he is like, oh god, not the berry puns. And I was like, but why not the berry puns? And he's like, because I've been hearing them all day. I was like, well, they have a lot of meat to them. And he's like, oh god, no, not the meat ones. And I was like, yes, the meat ones. And this conversation goes on and back and forth. And he was eating pizza. And I was like, well, ain't that just a bit crusty? And he's like, stop. So I stop. And then he sent me pictures of memes. And I really hate memes. So I go back to telling my puns. And he just slowly, ever so slowly, gives up. And I'm like, good, you've learned. So yeah. Yeah, that's all that story is, and it's really stupid. And I felt like sharing it because, well, since the speed paint is like probably an hour 30 minutes, I gotta fill in the time gap somehow, and it's only 11 in my recording, and I'm like, oof. Okay. So, this other story is basically like the same thing, but I was dating this guy, I'm gonna call him Odie, and I'm also gonna call my friend, Tyler. So, Odie and Tyler, they hated each other's guts, and this was like before I started dating Odie. And I was in this Discord server for furries, because as you probably well know, with all of the fur stuff I draw, that I am a furry. So we were in the server, and we were like role playing and shit, and I like role played with Tyler first, and then the next day I role played with Odie, but Tyler was like trying to drag me away or something because I feel like he was already attached to me, and I was like, I'm single. I'm going to expand my horizons, and I'm not going to date for a little while. Yeah, that plan soared out the fucking window. Anyways, so Odie and I got really attached to each other. Well, I got really attached to him. He didn't get really attached to me till after I asked him out. And he said, sure, I'll go out with you. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So this is the part when you think it's a bad sign at first. It's like a really bad sign when you first start dating someone and they tell you, yeah, let's not make this public. And I'm like, huh. But these people are our friends. And, we basically just role play together. And since it's like a furry server, I bet you can guess what that entitles in role play. And I'm a type of person that gets super jealous, super protective, and just very aggressive. Yeah, I'm very, very, very aggressive. So I didn't expect this to happen or whatever, but every time that we were like role playing in this server, I was like trying to cling on to him, trying to make sure that no one else screwed with him. And the people on the server already knew what was going on. Not because I told them, but because it was so goddamn obvious to the point that it hurt. And then he came out and told people that we were an item, but only in roleplay. And I was like, oof, you don't tell people that. If you're telling them that you're dating, you should just tell them that you're dating. So, with this second sign, I was still dating Odie at this time too. Tyler comes up to me and goes, hey, he's a bit of a jerk. You should probably drop him. Do I listen to Tyler? No. Should I have listened? Maybe. So, this goes on for like a few months. We're like dating, yada yada yada, lovey-dovey couple shit. And then I tell him that, because I was like about to move back to the US, and he's in another country that's like 7 hours away. So 7 hour difference. And I said, hey, because I didn't want a long distance date anymore. I actually wanted to date someone in person. Yeah, that's out of the window now. But the guy that I'm with now is actually in the US, so it's fine. And he's actually said that he would visit me, unlike this Odie piece of shit. He just literally goes, hey, I probably would never visit you because I hate airplanes and airports. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I would sacrifice my money, my time, just to visit you when I could, but you won't do the same. So that was kind of like my breaking point. I was just like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to take a break because I want to be single when I go to the US. And this is like 2 months, no, almost 3 months before I moved back. And we just ended it there. And it was this big, massive fight. And it was a stupid fight. And yeah. So that happened. And now we're like somewhat talking over anime. And that's about it. We barely have contact anymore. So at least he's not angry at me anymore and wants to kill me, that I know of. Now, these are probably going to be the final stories because I'm really getting tired of talking. And I'm just getting tired in general because it's 1 a.m. So, now for the stories after I broke up with Odie. These are all Grindr stories, so you can probably just guess what's going to happen there, so buckle into your fucking seats and prepare yourselves. So, on Grindr, you put your profile picture, you fill out a few information, yada yada yada. And you also put in a bio of like, ooh, excuse me for the God, of like who you are, what you do, if you have HIV, because it's a good thing for people to know if they're potentially wanting to date you, and all that other good shit. So I put on my profile clearly stating, did I delete the photo? I did. But I clearly stated I don't want anything sexual. I don't want anything that has to do with your penis. If I can say that word on YouTube. If not, then dingly dangly diddle doo doo, or whatever the fuck they call it. So, on like The Simpsons. Anyways, so after that, I set up my account, and you can like tell your body type and whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be upfront and honest with people and say that I'm chubby, because I am chubby. And as soon as I finished my profile, you wouldn't have expected, because I was living in a Muslim country at this time, you wouldn't have expected so many men to message you about sexual things. And I'm like, always trying to shut these people down and just saying no, or just deleting and blocking. Because I was like, okay, no. But on my birthday, I've had enough of it. I was already angry at something. I was super agitated. I was sassy as all hell. And I was like, you know what? I don't give a shit about what these people think about my attitude, yada, yada, yada. They're the one messaging me on my birthday. So, this one dude texts me this, top you pick from. And I was like, huh. Because it's all in text lingo, so it's like, oh, just at least 3 letters. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You don't even have the time or effort to spell out one single word unless it has 3 letters. So I said, English, please. Did he text me since? No. So, the next text message, because these are all tame, I'm doing from the tamest to the weirdest. So this dude texts me, like, asking me where I'm from, and I was like, oh, I'm from the US, and I'm like, this is a normal conversation on these types of apps, because you want to know a context of where people are from, so that you understand what to talk about and what not to talk about. So then he says, top or bottom, and I was like, okay, this is normal by now, so I gave him an answer. And I was like, please, if you're only looking for sexual things, please don't send me a pic or anything. Just please kindly fuck off. And he just goes ahead and sends it to me anyways, and I delete him, and I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna mess with that. And so the next conversation, you think it's normal at first, and he's like, nice to meet you, profile picture, and I'm like, you don't know how to look at someone's profile picture that's already up. And he's like, the next thing is like the weirdest. It's like, oh, nice to meet you, yada yada yada. And then he's like, show me your body and your ass, I need to see. And I was like, no, I don't want this, and I don't send nudes, end of story. And I also said goodbye. And he's like, he still continues, like, thinking that this is questioning or challenging him, and he thinks it's right to ask if I would like to screw him, and I just said no, because that was a no. But the same dude started offering me money. And by the way, reals is not much in US dollars. Like 50 reals is like not even $30. So he said, 1,000 reals okay with you? And I'm like, no, and that means no. And then he just keeps going up. He goes to, I think, almost to 3,000 reals, and that's like barely the amount of money that I make when I draw. I'm dead serious. And I just keep telling him no. Does he give up? No, not until I block him. So yeah, that's the second story of my Grindr adventures. So this is story number 3, and this guy just asked me for sexual things, and I just said, oof, no, and here are the reasons why. First, my profile says I don't want it. Second, that looks like a blurry, diseased dick. And third, I had to look at this like 3 to 5 fucking times, because I had to see if it was a finger or an unknowable object, because that's how blurry it was, and it looked like his thumb because of how small it was. And I was like, ew, that's disgusting, I don't want to look at that. But I needed it, like, my mind was curious on what the hell it was, because it looked like a finger or like one of those eraser heads of a pencil. And I literally said, it goes on from there, and I was like, is that some unknowable object that you have to pleasure yourself? Because you're a desperate whore. So when I say no, that means no, so fuck off. He doesn't text me afterwards, but one of his friends do. And this so-called friend sends me a photo, and I'm really fed up. This is when I was starting to get irritated on my birthday and starting to get sassy. So I tell him, hello, I see your manners went out the fucking window. I'm also trying so hard not to laugh because your dick looks like one of those mini prepackaged sausages that Asian people make little octopuses out of for bento boxes. Like, excuse me. So here's a fair warning. Read my profile, read other people's profiles, say hello, and when they ask for the dick, then you give the dick. Because I'm like so fed up. And by the way, I don't mean to be sounding racist when I was saying about the little octopus the little octopus sausages that Asian people make for bento boxes. Those things are delicious, and I would never offend people that make fucking delicious food. So if you are one of those people, I'm sorry if that sounded racist to you. Anyways, let's go to the next one. So this guy sends me a picture, of course, like always. And I told him that I had to look at it a few times to make sure it was not a broken table chair leg or any type of furniture leg. And I was like, by the way, if you did not read, I don't want sexual things. He tells me to go. And I'm like, really? You want me to go when you messaged me first? So I tell this guy, I'm like, aw, but you messaged first. So if you really want the combo to end, you should tuck your dick back into your true pussy you have and leave. And he left. He didn't text me since. And yeah, those are Grindr adventures, I guess. Like, almost all my conversations were like that on Grindr. And I've also had people like text me stupid things on like Skype. They will say, oh, you like booty? Sure, why not? Whatever. And I'm like, because these people are my friends on Skype, and I'm like, yeah, I thought you knew I'm an ass man. And they're like, well, I prefer this and that, but if you were to do it to me, it would be all fine. And I'm like, boy, no. I got a boyfriend, I don't need anything from you. So I told my boyfriend this, and he told me to kill him. So bless my boyfriend's heart and soul. He is the best. And yeah, I think the final thing that I'm going to say to wrap this up before I just go back into music, playing, whatever, and as well as like some advice, tips of like dating. I guess my tips on dating, not like, because everybody's tips are different. So basically, my boyfriend and I are complete dorks and silly and just weird. I think when we first started dating, I told him that I loved him, and he said, well, I was saying in this open chat that I'm in love with this dude, and he's like super amazing and dorky. He literally texted in chat, "Are you cheating on me?" And I'm like just sitting there laughing my ass off, because I'm like, boy, I'm going to fucking punch you. I literally told him this. I told him this almost every day, that I'm going to punch him. And he always dares me to do it. I don't know why, but he does. But apparently he's still with me, and that makes me very surprised. And it makes me laugh my ass off every single time. But recently he's been trying to get me into Dungeons and Dragons. And he is my one of my game's dungeon masters. Like, we haven't started the game, but yeah. So one of the members in this game is so annoying that I wanted to kill him. So I tell my BF this. Let me find it. So I tell him, oh, this is in the dungeon. Okay. So I literally tell him this, and he goes, because he quoted this, and I don't know why, but he did. But I told him that I wanted to stab the healer, and because I didn't know that, because I don't know the rules of the game, and I don't know the player types, so I didn't know what cleric does, but now I do, and he's the healer. And I told him that I wanted to stab him, and my boyfriend goes, well, you can stab him, but you're a rogue, so your sneak does 6 extra damage, so you could possibly kill him, and he's our healer. And I was like, I don't care, I'm still gonna stab him. He's like, but he's your healer. And I was like, fine then, I'll stab him when he's useless. And then he yells at me, he's our healer. And I was like, okay, if he doesn't fulfill his use, I don't care. I will still kill him. So, yeah. And he was just sitting there laughing. And I think the most recent, like, this has actually just happened like a few minutes ago. Because I have a little terrarium, and I named it George. And my boyfriend says that he's named like one of his objects George as well. And I was like, well then, George is now this object and a plant. And he's like, but that means that object is a plant too. And we were just sitting there, and I told him, well, no wonder, because I get high off of it. And I feel like he's just sitting there dying, because he told me that he was dying of laughter. As I was literally giggling for like an hour before I decided to record this. And yeah, that's basically that story. So, out of all these stories, I think you can guess a trend. I mainly date people that make me laugh. If they weird me out, I will either roast them or I will block them. So, here's my advice to those who are trying to figure out the dating scene or trying to figure their own love life out. Basically, just find someone that can make you laugh and smile to the point that it hurts, because if they can do that, then they can also make your day so much better, because the day is so stressful, and like if you're depressed like I am, then smiles are rare, laughter is rare. So find someone that does that. Don't hook up with them right away, because that's always bad. Don't seem needy, don't seem desperate, just hang out, be friends, chill, get to know them. If they make the move, they make the move. If you start to like them a lot, then you make the move, because if you don't, you're probably going to regret it. And another tip, which is if a guy who recently cheated on you or hurt you or hurt your friends or is very disrespectful, and you thought about dating them, and then you're like, nah, I won't, and then they ask you out, you're like, nah, no, this is just a no. If they say that they will change, don't believe them. Just don't. Because if you do, you're going to regret it even more. Because people don't change. Like, they can change a little bit, but they won't change to better themselves just to get in your pants. They will say that they will just to get in your pants, but they won't. That's why. So yeah, that's all my stories and other things. And if you have any questions, put them below, because I might do a Q&A sooner or later. If you have any suggestions, put those down below, because I also might start doing games and start drawing things that y'all suggest. And yeah, that's all for my voice part. The rest is just gonna be music. So I hope you enjoy this, or the rest of this video, and have a good day or night. Bye bye for now, until the end of the video, I guess.
I say I wanna be healthy, but I turn the noise. I've been dressed a steady stream of poison. I think I'm just in love with the feeling. Break my bones so I can feel that healing. Crazies, I believe the medical term. We wanna recover, but we don't wanna learn. Keep breaking what's been fixed 1,000 times, and give me some more of the iodine. I can't make reality connect. I push till I have nothing left. But if we want to wake up, why we still singing these lullabies? I'll run in circles till I crash. One day these steps will be my last. So if we want to wake up, why we still singing these lullabies? I say I wanna be happy, but I quickly forget when I sabotage all the good I've got left. Depression's like a big fur coat. It's made of dead things, but it keeps me warm. Crazies, I believe the medical term. We wanna recover, but we don't wanna learn. Keep breaking what's been fixed 1,000 times, and give me some more of the iodine. I can't make reality connect. I push till I have nothing left. But if we want to wake up, why we still singing these lullabies? I'll run in circles till I crash. One day these steps will be my last. So if we want to wake up, why we still singing these lullabies? I don't like pain, but I bring it to light. I don't like scars, but I'm good with the night. I don't like tears, but I'm starting to cry when I realize I'm destroying my life. I do this to myself. I do this to myself. Don't blame me someone else. We do this to ourselves. I can't make reality connect. I push till I have nothing left. But if we want to wake up, why we still singing these lullabies? I'll run in circles till I crash. One day these steps will be my I'm an alien, 'cause I'm not of this world. I have a name, but I've been changed, and now I can't stay the same. And I'm a loser, that means I've been lost before, but now I found it, I'm surrounded, 'cause you could hear the way it sounded. Like angels singing with a million voices. The end is where we begin. It's crawling back when we run away, 'cause the end is where we begin. We're broken hearts mend and start to beat again. The end is where we begin. I'm a monster, if that means I'm misunderstood, 'cause it's alive and I can't hide it. The energy is rising, and I'm a traitor, if that means